Welcome to Snowdonia in Wales, one of the largest national parks in the UK, covering 823 square miles. It's home to 9 mountain ranges and 15 mountains over 3,000 feet. But it's also home to a rather crazy challenge called the Paddy Buckley Round. And yep, you guessed it, this was another one of Sam and Mark's silly ideas. The Paddy Buckley Round is a circuit of around 105 kilometres over 47 summits. And no, this isn't cycling, this is running. Whilst continuous, the round is essentially broken up into 5 legs, where the route crosses over roads, allowing for those much needed support stops. We chose to start in Llanberis at 3 AM, then began by running up and over the Gliders and Trefan before descending to our first 4 road crossings after 16 kilometres. The second leg was another 16 kilometres up and over the Carnedais. The third is the longest and known for reducing grown men and women to tears at 37 kilometres in length, taking in Mol Shabod, the Molewins, through the Slate Quarries and over Connect. The fourth is a spectacular leg looking across the Irish Sea, taking in Mol Hebog and around 15 kilometres in distance. Then finally, we have the largest mountain in Wales to tackle on our 5th leg, Snowdon, along with many others, another 21 kilometres of running if you make it that far. This also isn't a race. You may do this anytime you like, and although there is no official time limit, an arbitrary 24 hours does exist for the round. And that's what Sam and myself set out to do. But, as you're about to find out, it didn't go quite as planned. We're doing like an out and back through the kind of the mining quarry area at the moment. Not gonna lie, we're both having a bit of a tough time, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm not sure if my tough time's rubbed off on Mark's, but
yeah,
mentally and physically.
It's a long day, and we've got to do this route round here now. And then you see all those hills behind us up there. We've got to like go up and over, jump on and off rock. It's getting relentless. That I just can't, I don't know, I just can't imagine us doing another 12 hours of this.
We're 12 hours in.
Everything hurts, everything hurts. My feet are bruised. I don't know, I've now got myself in a negative mindset, I know, but
I think that's my fault.
This is tough, this is real tough.
Just don't want to be here, Mark.
But we are enjoying it, kind of. It's beautiful.
I mean, we're very lucky to be out, and it's an incredible day. That view, unbelievable.
Yeah. Anyway, before we get too emotional, let's get on with it. Right, up here, I think, this nice steep jump, classic. Always steep hill, isn't it?
So, Mark and Sam, the Paddy Buckley Round. What an epic failure. Challenge. Cut. So, Mark and Sam, thanks for joining us. We're going to talk about the Paddy Buckley Round. You guys barely made it past halfway. Okay. Too harsh? It's a bit too harsh. Okay, too harsh. Cut. So, Mark and Sam, thanks for joining us. We're going to talk about your experience at the Paddy Buckley Round and what lessons you learned from a day that didn't really go to plan. I guess the major lesson is you guys didn't train enough. Train more. Is that the lesson? We're done here? I think we're done here. Cut. So, Mark and Sam, the Paddy Buckley Round. We're really hoping this was going to be a GTN challenge that someone actually finished.
Great.
No? Oh, come on. All right, Mark and Sam, joining us to talk about the Paddy Buckley Round. All jokes aside, it didn't go to plan, but these things don't. This is what happens with ultra endurance challenges. Sometimes they just don't go to plan. And the lessons you learn from those are obviously the things that go on to bring you success later on. So without just throwing the whole program out and just forgetting about it, we thought we'd unpack what you did and what you didn't do and the things that you learned to save you guys for the next time, obviously, prepare you better, but also to help our viewers maybe in their own epic challenges. and what they can learn from your mistakes, and we can go from there. So let's start at the beginning. Let's unpack it. Well, I say start at the beginning. Maybe let's start at the end.
Well, should we start?
Where did you guys pull the plug and why?
Should we start 2 hours before the end, where we kind of realised it was game over? And that's probably the last clip you guys have seen of us running and talking, because pretty much around there was a very low point, and soon after that we pulled the plug, sadly.
Mentally, I'd lost it by then. I think I said to you halfway up the hill, like, I've not got another 10, 12 hours of running in me, and the look you gave me was well, despair at the time.
Well, no, only because it's normally me that breaks first, and I was trying to figure out, is this really happening? And also, you know, when someone's in that kind of place, how do I deal with it? And I don't want to upset you or make things worse, and can I actually get you back out of this dark place? And actually, you say it's on the uphill that you had this. It was the downhills that were the worst part of all of this, which sounds odd, but it's that just pounding and muscle damage and the steep screes and everything we're experiencing. But ultimately, we made it to 70k through the 105k. So we had.
So you went through a bad patch, and he was trying to support you, and you went through a bad patch, and he was trying. And when you both went through a bad patch.
Yeah,
well, the plug.
I mean, that's when it falls apart, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It was the third leg, so that is the crux of it in my mind.
And how far into it were you then?
We were probably about halfway through the third leg. Yes, it was probably like 50, 60k, and I guess we'd been running for about 10 hours, maybe 12 hours. And it was boggy. We thought we were moving well. We thought we were up on time, and then I checked the watch against the schedule, and we were down by about half an hour. And I lost it then, and my head dropped. And I told you what I was thinking after about an hour of that. You looked at me. You did what you should have done and said, "Let's just get to the next checkpoint. Let's keep going." But all I wanted you to say was, "Yeah, I'm feeling the same, mate. Shall we cut this?"
It also unfortunately came at quite a bad time with it was a very hot weekend. The sun was beaming down on us, and we're going past swamps of water, which we suddenly thought looked very lovely and refreshing. So occasionally filling our water from them, which was fine. I haven't had any ill effects from it. I hope you haven't.
No,
but anyway, yeah, it was hot. It was hard. And as Sam says, like, we felt like we were, and I honestly thought we were moving so well through the Mulwin stage, and to suddenly just hemorrhage so much time was just
that mental blow that you couldn't really recover from in that already.
And then with the fatigue on top of that, we made a couple of navigational errors that were quite costly, added, half an hour at least onto our time, and meant that we were literally scrabbling up the side of a very steep mountain.
It's the micro mistakes. It's the we should have gone left there. That was a quicker line. That it's not necessarily getting lost and looking at the map and thinking, where are we? It's we should have taken that path because that saves like 3 minutes over that one, and it's over and over again.
And it's the mental cost of every one of those things.
Stopping, checking.
Okay, so that's route planning, kind of mapping it out and getting those things not wrong is a big part of a challenge like this, where you're in the mountains and you've got to navigate yourself. There's no little flags showing you where to go the whole way. How much preparation did you do, and what did your preparation look like for this event?
Would you like to start on this one?
Yeah, good question. So we heavily relied on my brother, who lives up in Llanberis, which is the start and finish point of the Paddy Buckley. So him and some of his friends said they were going to attempt this. I said I was game. It's something I've always wanted to do, and naturally Mark jumped on.
As he does.
So both of us based here in the southwest, about 4 or 5 hours from North Wales, and that sort of terrain. We thought our marathon running training, our background in triathlon and running on a few hills around here was going to prepare us for mountain running over 23 hours, 24 hours.
You say that, a lot of people did obviously preface and say, look, the Paddy Buckley is unique. You have to prepare, you need to go and run in the mountains, and we were full aware of that. So we did try to go to the mountains, and you did actually recce the 4th stage, which you really didn't get to.
But,
good. But you did go and practice it, and then we did, just realising I couldn't get up there, we just didn't have the time, etc., things going on. So we did the best we could in the local area. We did some long runs, some steep, hilly runs, but it's nothing compared to what we're about to undertake. So we very much relied on them for navigation, and honestly, we would have been lost without them. Had they not been there, we
So
just
you had
simply
some local
couldn't.
guys who
Well,
were
so-
kind of helping you.
The way it unfolded was over the first 2 legs, we sort of all stuck together. And the third leg, Mark and I were feeling strong. They were doing it, there was 4 of them as a group, and one of their guys was struggling slightly, so they held back at the checkpoint. They carried on fine, and when we saw them towards the end of the third leg, they were flying along, and we were in a very dark place. But it meant we did the third leg, just us two, self-navving on unknown territory, and I think we just kept getting stuck in like really boggy, like bogs. You run through and suddenly you're up to your waist in mud and water.
So should we put that down as lesson 1? Stick with the people who know the route. Don't get all excited and run away from them.
And you know what the interesting is, something I wasn't aware of at all with these kind of rounds, and it's the same for the Bob Graham and whatnot. You have people who are specialists of the routes, but also certain sections. So actually someone was prepared to join us on the 4th leg, who is actually a specialist of the 4th leg and helps people towards these records, the FKTs, and they'll literally have people for each of the legs. And they're like, look, I know the route over the rocks, which one to take, where to jump off. And it'll save you a minute here and there, but that's substantial.
And it sounds straightforward, like you go out for a day in the hills and often you'll walk along the pass, but these routes are just like, it's that rock to that rock. There's no distinguishing features on some of these legs.
They're not well-used paths that you're following.
You're taking the quickest route, so sometimes you're going straight up the side, and it's not always that's the quickest route, because there's a stream that comes down, which means it's boggy, so actually it was just a minefield.
The route knowledge is vital.
Definitely.
And, so for next time, you're going to recce not just section 4, which you never got to, but all the sections before you get there.
Definitely,
Yeah?
definitely.
Okay, we'll put that down as your first lesson learned. So then on to one of the very important things for a challenge like this, especially in the mountains, kit. What do you carry? What do you take with you? What do you rely on your support vehicle to give you at the next stop? You got weather changes. You guys had a really hot day. You could very easily run into snow in the top of these mountains. Yeah. So you've got to be prepared for everything. And then obviously, like you said, the terrain is brutal. So what do you take differently from just running shoes and shorts for this kind of terrain?
Well, obviously, to start with, obviously we were supported, so there was the option to sort of, we had a change of shoes should we need, and extra layers if we felt we were suddenly about to go into, the weather was closing in. So we did have that, so we weren't like having to carry it for the entire ultra, but just kind of like simply running through the main things we had. So each had kind of a hydration vest on, a small pack like this. So we have these water pouches, which we actually on the 3rd leg, because it's so long, we had extras sort of in the back so we could just swap them out.
So you've got about 500, each of these is about 500 ml, half a litre, and then for the 3rd leg. I mean, saying we're supported, there's only 4 road crossings. So it's not like you've got someone with all that kit.
You can't just grab stuff from them whenever you feel like it. You have to carry for a long period.
So going into the 3rd leg, which is 6.5 hours over the midday sun, we put an extra couple to make sure we had 2 litres, and then we're filling up from streams and rivers.
Also just safety, we made sure we obviously needed head torches at the start during the time, but we had a couple of these in case batteries died each. We also had like waterproof jackets. You've got yours here, like tape seams, because it can get, and it did at one point, get very cold, even though it was you could see the sun, but it was hidden behind the clouds, so super cold, and just the moisture because we were in the clouds. Same for leggings, so we had those sort of things, and I pretty much carried mine the entire time. I know you dropped yours off because you felt we were okay,
once we got to the second leg, I knew that we were in for a blinder really, and it's hard to know what perfect conditions are because it can easily get too hot. We had good visibility, so that was
I'll put in something here on these epic challenges. Obviously you guys, it was not an actual race event where there was a referee at the start checking you had a kit, but a lot of these events do have those. So go onto those websites, download their essential kit list, because that's a very good place to start for something like this, because they have those things. Did you guys have a space blanket with you?
I actually did, and I haven't brought it today.
That's the kind of thing that they'd have on those lists. It's a very good starting point for something like this where you're going to be in the mountains, because you don't know how it's going to change. A twisted ankle, you're 5 hours walk from nearest help, you're going to be lying there shivering, even on a warm day,
for a good few hours before someone can carry you out. Those are the kind of things you need to look at carrying with you, no matter what the weather conditions
Yeah, and
are.
someone did also recommend if you weren't supported, then having one of these like tent things that you can get quite small ones that pack down. Also, I did have a survival bag. I did also have a pocket-sized first aid kit, which I didn't carry with me because we knew that sort of if anything happened, we'd probably, I don't know, I'd carry you, Sam, for a few hours.
Well, there was a group of us, so we weren't at no point any of us were on our own. And my brother had a GPS tracker that would work, and you can actually send messages on it through satellites sort of thing. So there's all of those things to keep us safe.
I do want to talk about these running poles. Now,
had you used them before?
A little bit.
No is the answer. We did a practice run. I turned up, couldn't work out how to attach them to my bag, and so didn't take them. And you took yours and used them for the first 10 minutes.
Well, you just put that together pretty quickly.
Yeah, and they collapse just as well, so you just literally, not so well right now.
But smart bits of kit, very smart bits of kit.
I think I may have broken this halfway around the route. But anyway, we were kind of debating, are running poles worth it for an ultra?
Because, you never
I don't know, I've never used them before. Oh my goodness, these things they're a lifesaver on it.
It got to the point where I just couldn't imagine running without them. And we got onto a road section right at the end as we were running down to the end of the third checkpoint, and it was sort of made sense to put the poles away because it was only undulating, we're on tarmac, and it just felt so alien, didn't it? Yeah. Not having these two things like guiding you along.
So we're going to see you running around Bath with your poles.
I will say, again, lack of experience with them. You went for one method with putting them away, which was sliding them into kind of a sheath thing attached to the back, whereas I was attaching mine to elastics on the front, which I thought would be better and easier because, I don't know, trying to almost put like arrows in the back. I thought that'd be
I think it's called a quiver.
Quiver, that's the one, thank you.
Which sounds cool.
And actually what I found is you were whacking yours away really quickly, descending really well, whereas I was getting onto these really loose screes, and I'm trying to attach it to 4 elastic bands, and I'm trying to go down a descent and look at my feet where I'm planted. So you definitely had a better method there, and I did come a cropper a couple of times where I slid over, fell on my bum, almost stabbed myself with these poles.
Yeah, there's a couple of times.
And you would need your mate to carry you if you had broken your ribs like that.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Lesson learned. Make sure you practice those.
In the midday sun. That was just, you wouldn't have been able to do it without that.
Yeah, easy to leave at 4 o'clock in the morning without a hat on your head and realize later that you've made a big mistake there. Okay, so kit vital on something like this, even if you're supported, even if you're going to see your mates in a few hours down the road. Make sure you got the right kit with you.
Yeah, and we were shorts and t-shirt for a lot of it during the midday. Obviously sunscreen, we had that all over. We had some sort of longer layers for that in between, like when it was a bit cooler. And then,
so it sounds like other than maybe not practicing where and how you put your poles away, you guys did okay on the kit front. So you're not too much to learn.
A lot of practice with it, a lot more practice.
Practice more with your kit.
But I think we were okay. I think we had we'd done our research. We've done a few of these things, not to this extreme, but
just practice more with your kit. Well, practice more seems to be a bit of a theme that's going on in this thing. Let's carry on. Next, nutrition. Yeah. Now it's a long day out, and as far as I know, there's no McDonald's along the route. So you've got to plan ahead what you're going to need, when you're going to need it, and try and predict what you're going to crave. I see you brought along a tin of rice pudding, what I've never craved in an event, but maybe you craved. Not sure what's in here, but apparently this is a packed lunch. What did you guys take with you? What did you wish you had taken with you and craved along the way?
Yeah, okay. So, you said you've never craved this in an event, but this is not an Ironman. This is 23, 24 hours long, and so it's not that fast release energy. Gels are sort of irrelevant in this situation. So it was a lot more sort of, it's that balance between getting you can't sit down and have a 3-course meal. There's no point having really heavy food. You want sort of quick release, but not too sugary. So rice pudding is something that I've used before, and I just find it works really well at a road crossing. You can eat a tin very quickly and it just sort of sits well for me. This is a peanut butter and jam sandwich, and I got through a fair few of these. Yeah, and it's tried and tested for me and works pretty well.
I've tried and tested, and I find I just can't breathe for about half an hour. So I'm trying to like get this
Peanut butter
thing
stuck on the roof of your mouth.
So we did that. I tried. Sam said when we went into the 100, I listened to Sam because he'd done the Bob Graham before the 100k run we did a while ago. I was like, yeah. So I packed a load of peanut butter and jam sandwiches, and literally the first one I couldn't breathe. So I scrapped that idea.
Works for one person.
I went for a tin of custard.
Oh.
I actually quite like that. I know there's a lot more sugar in
I've
that.
not found a time of day or place that I've not craved a tin of custard.
I did pack a couple of gels, which actually I didn't use at all because, yeah, as Sam says, you're probably not wanting all that sugar. Had a lot of these sort of things, cereal bars, Cliff bars. Had actually a lot of these shot block sort of things.
Chewable energy.
Yeah, had a lot of them actually because they're just so easy to grab and pull out. I also, and this I couldn't have lived without, just had a load of electrolyte sachets and tablets. So literally every bottle had this in, bar a couple.
There was a point, we got to the third leg and we actually needed a couple of bottles without, just to again, your taste buds change throughout the day, don't they? Yeah. So it's
well, that's why I was asking, was there something you got 10 hours in and you were like, oh, I really wish I had packed, I don't know, salty pretzels or something.
You say that, I started off loving these and I was like, oh, brilliant. And then by the end I was like searching for anything but these. And funny because I bought these partly because Sam's brother packed about 20 of them and literally that's all he packed. And within an hour he said to us, oh my goodness, I just can't stand them. It's funny, which is a long time.
There's such a thing as too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think the lesson there is pack variety if you're going to be out there for so long and have pretty much everything you can think of in your support vehicle.
There's
as
a
an
load
option.
still left over in our in our fridges and stuff.
You've been working your way through.
Yeah, because I thought I might need it, didn't, and you just got to have the options there.
Yeah, better to have more options than less. Well, nutrition is a vital part of this, but you guys not saying nutrition was the reason that you collapsed?
I could have done things slightly better, I think. It wasn't the reason that we failed. My ankles, really, I think.
Okay.
Just descending.
Yeah, mine was literally quads descending. I just felt like I had serious muscle damage after about 30k, which was manageable for a while, but after another 40k of that, I was just like, no, can't do this anymore. And I was in serious pain for the next week or so with my ITBs, my quads. So just need to get in the mountains, practice. It's so unique. Need to descend. Just getting used to that.
Eccentric loading of the quads,
exactly.
Going down mountains rather than the actual strength of going up them.
Yeah, I think actually another contributing factor for me for failure, I don't know if we're onto that section yet, that's quite a topic, but it was mentally. I hadn't comprehended. I've done the Bob Graham before, which is a similar challenge up in the Lake District, and I probably was complacent. I knew that you were worse prepared than I was, and so I thought if Mark's okay, I'll be okay. And then actually when the pain started, I wasn't prepared to deal with it. And I think going back a second time, I think
that's a common thing in endurance challenges, especially when your preparation has gone well, is that you think it's going to be smooth sailing. And the simple fact of endurance challenges is that are endurance challenges for that reason. They get hard, they get dark, they get brutal. That's why it's such a reward when you finish them. But you have to be prepared to push through that, even if your preparation's gone really well and you've done everything right in the preparation, which perhaps you hadn't.
Was it partly because you knew I was worse prepared and then you started to go through a low patch? You're like,
before
why
he did.
Mark having a low patch yet?
I don't know, not necessarily. I mean, I could see you going strong, and so that stopped me saying how I was feeling for a while, because I was like, no, I'll come out of it. I don't want to bring Mark down. But I think it was the fact that I knew I hadn't prepared. And so then when I went through the low patch, I was like, well, I've not prepared for this. Whereas if I'd have prepared, I'd been like, I know I can get through this. I know I can finish it. And actually that hit me pretty hard because I was like, I've not done what I need to do to finish this. And to finish it properly, we might have been able to carry on and finish it, but it would have been miserable. And that's not how I want to do it.
There's been a lot of endurance things in my life where I had to pull the plug, been forced to pull the plug, and 100% when you're there and I can't take another step, I can't carry on, this is I'm done. But it's almost instantaneous when you've stopped, where you look back and go, why didn't I just push through for another 20, 30 minutes? That bad patch would have passed. We could have finished it, and at least we would have done it. We would have been better prepared for the next thing because we've done the whole route, even if slower.
I'm going to say...
Some instant regret?
I'm going to say straight up, yeah, I've had that countless times, but I still look back and I honestly, like, every step was... You know, when my eyes were popping out of my head, my teeth, I was gritting my teeth, I was sweating so much, and it hurt so much. I'm not sure, I couldn't have finished.
It's amazing how the mind forgets, isn't it? It forgets that pain so quickly. Yeah. And so I look back and I think, well, yeah, we probably could have finished, I say now. But I maintain it would have just been not worth it, I think, because you're in an incredible scenery, incredible surroundings. I want to do it and I want to be able to like run it and enjoy it and look around me rather than just hating it. Yeah. So, but having said that, in the time and place we were at that point, nah, couldn't have done it.
Well, fair enough. That's at least you're honest. That's what we brought you here for, some honest reflection on what you went through and how you did it. So that brings me on to the next question. Now that the pain is somewhat forgotten and you're talking about we could have maybe finished it, are you going to attempt it again?
Yeah, well, I mean, James, you've made it sound like pretty simple laying it out in front of us. So, I mean, I'm keen to go back.
I'm keen. Are you keen?
You're keen.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned all the lessons you guys taught. What could go wrong? I mean, what could possibly go wrong? I know all the mistakes. So yeah,
great.
I'm game. Yeah,
okay.
I'm game.
Right.
I think though one of the lessons was we have to go and recce it. So having never been to Wales in my life before, I'm gonna definitely demand that we go and recce it a few times before we actually attempt the whole thing. But I'm definitely game for all three of us doing it, trying to get around the whole thing.
Great stuff.
I'm looking forward to some recce's, but I think that's a great plan.
Well, yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed hearing about our epic ultra failure and maybe you learned something from it if you're embarking on your own ultra, or just simply enjoyed just hearing us chat about how hard it was. And yeah, we look forward to hopefully doing another Paddy Buckley soon. If you enjoyed today's video, please do give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to give us a follow over on social media and subscribe just down below.